The next generation we call Generation X, and these people are roughly 39 years to 54 years old. You'll recognize this age group as being the group that many of your parents are probably in. This generation, their core values, well, they're skeptical. They ask questions, they question authority. That's just part of life. They've lived through Watergate, they've lived through the civil rights movement, they know that women's rights have come a long way, and they ask questions without a second thought. They're more informal group as well. They realize that there's more to life than having a fancy set of china or silver, and life can be more informal for them. Their life outlook is civic duty is part of my responsibility, and they are very self-reliant too. And I think this came out of many of the parents of these people were baby boomers, and baby boomers, if you recall, were competitive. They were focused on careers. Oftentimes, if there were two parents in the household, oftentimes both parents were working. So Generation X, if you've heard the phrase latchkey kids, Generation X were many times latchkey kids. They'd come home from school, they'd get in the be the first ones in the house, they'd make a snack for themselves and maybe even start dinner. So they're very self-reliant people as a whole. Family at this time, there's a variety of options. Blended families are nothing unusual. People split up, they marry someone else, or they get together with another person, they blend their families. There's a variety of options here. Leadership on the job, I expect equality. I expect to be judged by the job I do rather than where I am in the hierarchy. Competence is respected in their bosses. Rewards, this generation likes freedom. They like to maintain, they're starting to discover that they need a balance between work and home life. Freedom, something you might give these people as a reward for a job well done would be maybe extra days off. Feedback, they expect regular feedback, more than just a once a year review. They like to know how they're doing along the way. Career path, much more open to job changing. If I see that I can have a better situation at this other job, I'm going to jump ship and go to this other job. Their career goals are balance between job or career and family life. This is the generation that really started looking at, well, men have as much a role as being fathers as women have a role in being a mother. So this generation, many times in a family, the mother and father both work, and there are a variety of options to home life with these people. So we're really starting to think outside the box with this group. The millennials are roughly 23 to 38 years old today. Their core values, well, they like to enjoy life. They like to have fun. They are achievement oriented, and they are confident. Their life outlook is hopeful, although they have lived through some tough situations. I think this picture here is the Oklahoma bombing. So there are things that they've seen that make them continue to question authority, like the previous two generations. But their life outlook is hopeful. Families with this generation merged and extended. We're getting more and more open to what constitutes a family with this group of people. Leadership on the job, they look for collaboration. They look for leaders that ask the people doing the work, okay, how can this be better? How can we do a better job here? So collaboration is expected on the job. Rewards for them, they want to do meaningful work. And if you look at that that statement at the bottom, according to a website, Business to Community, 84% of millennials want to have an impact on the world. So they want to do meaningful work. Their career path is, they want their feedback to be instantaneous. Now, what do you think led to wanting feedback to be instantaneous? Technology, of course. Career path, not a straight line. This is the beginning of the attitude that, hey, I can get a job, do something for a few years. Maybe I want to do something a little different. I'll take some time off to be with the family, then I'll go back to work, that kind of thing. But their career goals, they want fulfillment. They want to feel that they are achieving something. Let's look at Generation Z, also sometimes known as Gen Alpha. These folks are roughly 7 to 22 years old today. Before we talk about Generation Z, I'm going to tell you that whereas social scientists have divided generations by spans of approximately 20 to 30 years in the past, they've recognized that the world is changing so fast, and technology has had a big role in that, that this generation may have to end up being divided into 2 or maybe even 3 generations because influences are changing so quickly. So let's look at how we see Generation Z right now. The core values of this group, by and large, and this is a generalization, of course, individuals have their own ways of seeing things, but in general, individualism. Hey, do it your own way. It's open to however you want to do life. Their life outlook is realistic. They've seen world terrorism. They've seen a lot of things happen in the world. They value diversity. That goes back to individualism. The family is starting to be whatever works. If you and a few friends get together and call yourself a family, hey, go for it. Whatever works. Leadership on the job. You expect your leader to be connected and know what you're doing, to be inspiring, to be competent, of course, but inspiring and connected. Rewards for this generation are opportunity. Opportunity. Now, looking down at the bottom here, according to the same website and the same study, only 60% of Gen Zers want to have an impact on the world, compared to the 84% of the millennials. You can take that for what it's worth. 60% is still a huge percentage. But the rewards that this group want are opportunities of different types. Feedback on the job, they certainly want it instantaneously. And what do you think affects that? Well, look at that picture over on the right. We can see anything on our phones that's happening right now halfway around the world. Career path, flexible. Hey, maybe I'll graduate from high school or college and take a year off to travel, take a year off to do, I don't know, just see what I want to do. Or maybe I want to work in sonography for a few years. Maybe I'll switch up. Maybe I'll do something different. Flexible. Career goals are entrepreneurial. Now, this group, from what I understand and what I've read, is the most entrepreneurial of all of the groups. And I think that's driven by necessity, but it's also driven by the fact that they want to be their own boss. They're individualists and they want opportunity. So hopefully you can see now how the times we grow up in, what's going on in the world while we're growing up, can affect our attitudes and our behaviors. And hopefully this will help you understand when you get into the working world or in the job you're in now, understand why people of different ages want to do things differently and view you through a certain lens.